testing this out. I need to figure out what the hell is going wrong, because I appear to only be getting about 8 to 10 frames a second when I'm recording now all of a sudden, and I think it has to do with recording and streaming at the same time. And if that's the case, that's gonna suck ass. Because I was kind of liking being able to do that. Being able to record mic audio separate, recording a high quality version of the stream, and then just getting it out to stream with mic audio and everything synced in. Ugh. If I can't do that now for some reason all of a sudden, then I guess I'm just going to have to live with it. Alright. Okay, so basically, I have decided I'm going to go ahead and do just the initial setup of my character. Well, not my character to play, but initial setup of the character to get him up and running, make sure all of the mods are configured and ready to go, and the actual testing of the mod Percus Maximus and all the other ones, well, all the other ones that I can, will take place tomorrow for quite some time. I imagine it'll probably be a good several hours of streaming to do this. And alright. So if the frames per second doesn't pick up on this, then I might just have to switch over and do it as a stream only, and just live with it, I guess. This sucks. You know what? Actually, I'm going to try that. I'm going to stop streaming. I'll be back shortly. I'm going to switch the profile on this to see if I can try a different method to send out. Let's see if it's maybe, because these are both hitting. This is doing X264, which is hitting the CPU. This is doing QuickSync, which is hardware encoding, but it's on the CPU still. So I'm wondering if that's the reason why they are doing this. I mean, still, it's like, it's 15%. It's like it's nothing. It's not hitting my CPU that hard. So I don't quite get why it's doing what it's doing. Okay. So, alright, yeah, I'm going to stop streaming. I'll be back very soon. Okay, I think I've possibly figured out what's going wrong. On the part that's doing the high quality, something has changed in this latest version of Open Broadcaster, because it used to hit 30 frames a second no problem, even when setting the projector to the second monitor, so that this one can just record from the second monitor and go through fine. This one would usually hit a few frames per second less, just because it was, you know, the second monitor was only doing about maybe 20 frames a second instead of 30. I noticed, though, when I do, as soon as I turn this projector on to monitor 2 now, it drops down to 6 or 7 frames a second. It's really annoying. So Sorry, I just came back, but I'm going to stop this stream, get this one set up to do an actual stream, and I guess I'm just going to have to live with the lower quality recording. I don't know what else I can do. Alright, so yeah, I'll be right back again. Okay, going to hope that this is coming through. Still showing offline on my laptop here though. What's up with that? Oh, it's just decided not to refresh. Okay. Okay, there we are. Alright, so, well, no, it's still 16, 17, 50. What the hell? Something's up. I don't know what it is, but something's up. Well, now it's 30 frames per second. And now it's 20 frames per second. Seriously? When it's recording itself, it has a problem? Yeah, I just move it onto my other monitor and it jumps right back to 30 frames per second. That is bizarre, guys. Seriously. I need to file a bug report with Open Broadcaster on that, because that should not be happening. It never happened before, and it makes no sense why it would suddenly start, other than it's a new version, and it's a beta version, so beta tends to mean bugs. Okay. So, hopefully the mic audio won't be terrible either. I'm trying to get the mix working properly. We'll see how it goes. But, okay, so as I was saying, what my plan for tonight is going to be basically just getting in, checking out that Percus Maximus is installed properly. The perk trees and all that stuff are going to be showing up differently. B, getting all of my mods configured so that I can actually be able to play a little bit tomorrow. Not necessarily play as in this is how I want to do my character, but just play to be able to actually test Percus Maximus and see how it plays with the dual combat mod and dual combat realism. See how it works with the immersive weapons, immersive armors. Make sure all the stats and everything are looking proper. And we did test out last time a lot of the city mods just to make sure everything was running okay there, and a little bit of Orisa, which of course this will be a new character, so there may be a little bit more of that just as kind of a secondary thing, but it's mostly going to be testing out. I'll raise my skill level in light weaponry or whatever to 100, and then start going through some perks just to see what the different perks do, make sure things are working properly, and spawning in NPCs and stuff like that. I'm actually going to be kind of following the way that Gopher has been doing his perma testing. But yeah, he's doing his more with a much lighter load as far as mods go, because he's mostly just testing perma. I want to see how everything's working in the actual game. So what I'm also going to be doing is checking frame rate, making sure that the game is actually hitting and maintaining 60 frames a second, which it has been in the testing that I've done off camera. So, but I of course haven't been recording while I have been testing that, so that'll be something to check out. Alright. Let's go ahead and start it up. And of course I'll turn off things like I need, and if Frostfall does start up, I'll disable it as well, just because when I'm actually testing, I want to be able to not have to worry about, maybe I need to wait 24 hours or wait several days, and I don't want to need to worry about my character just dying. I've also added an actual ENB now, so we'll see how that plays. I've added a light version of, well, not light version, the performance quote-unquote version of Real Vision. I was playing around with the full version, and I'm still getting 30 frames a second. Excellent. Yeah, I was playing around with the full version of the ENB, and it was getting occasional 60 frames a second, but it's holding pretty solid at 40 frames a second with all of the effects enabled. And that was looking okay. I was okay with that. I figured I could play it as long as it stayed over 30 frames a second. I could probably play it okay. But it would also, once it got into heavy stuff, it would dip. Actually, I'm gonna do new. Crap, I got my controller plugged in still. Alright, yes. And, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so it would occasionally dip down into 20 frames a second or less if the action and whatever on screen got pretty heavy. So that was not very acceptable. So I figured I'd check the performance version, and that ended up being perfect. It was holding steady at 60 frames a second. Even in the heaviest stuff, it would hit maybe 40 frames a second. So it never really dipped below that. It kind of stayed in the 50 to 60 frames a second, but it would almost the entire time be at 60 frames a second. So that's good, cool. And I mean, really, I don't know what it is not doing in relation to whether it's performance or whether it's the full version, because they don't really look that different to me. The only thing that I noticed was depth of field was turned off, which I use Dynavision for that anyways. And yeah, that was really all that I noticed. I know that the subsurface anti-aliasing, or no, is it subsurface or screen space? I think it's screen space anti-aliasing, SSAA, whatever that stands for, was also turned off, which is a heavy performance hit, and I don't really care. It doesn't make that much of a difference to me. With depth of field turned on, with a little bit of bloom turned on, I don't notice jaggies. So if you do, I'm sorry, but it looks fine to me. I am curious though if all of the effects are going to come through on camera. because that is a potential issue with, and just sticking with tradition, Duder. That is a potential issue with ENBs. I know in the past they were not able to record them. And we'll randomize that. I don't really know why. Like, it would record the game as the game is shown and not record the actual ENB effects on top of it. I think the newest versions of OBS and other recording software like Fraps used to have problems with it. I think that they do all the ENB effects now. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. A lot of times in the past, what people would do to be able to capture the ENB effects is they would actually run their game through like a capture device, like an Elgato or whatever, so that instead of it capturing directly on the system, it would go out to a capture box and then back into the system to record or stream or whatever. So, okay, and yeah, you notice much improved on the smoothness. It's not like choppy like it was last time, so that's much better. I'm liking that. Okay, so we have stopped our loading spam. Alright, let's go ahead and I'm going to check the audio. Make sure that the master volume is down some for this. And let's check out what we got. Alright, this is going to be first one. Change that. Change that. Yep. And change that. Yep. Oh. I get it? I got it. Yeah, okay. There. And I wonder what. Oh, cool. Travel on ships, disable fast travel. Hey, nice. Show map marker. Oh, cool. So you can actually have map markers of the fast travel, the carriages and stuff. Neat. I actually found one of the ship ones just kind of walking around outside of Solitude, I think. Was it no, it wasn't Solitude. It was between Dawnstar and Windhelm. Okay. Nice. Not realistic. I guess because it's the river. Yeah, ship location. Because they're not actually connected to a river, so they're quote-unquote not realistic. Which makes sense. Why would... Oh. Huh. So I guess if I do the Helgen Reborn quest mod, I could turn that on and have a cart that goes to Helgen. Neat. Okay, cool. And alright, this is the, I think the Immersive College. Yeah, Immersive College of Winterhold. I'm doing this mod basically because the character that I'm going to be doing for my Let's Play, I don't want that character to become the Archmage or whatever of the college. But I need to be able to go through some of the quest line to get items and stuff that I want to have done, and to be able to go through the main storyline, you have to do at least some of the college quests. So I figure if I do any of the college quests, I might do all of them, but leave Tulfdir as the Archmage instead of myself as the Archmage. So that will be something for late game. And let's turn on what is that? You know what? Yeah, I'm going to override that quest for now. When I actually do the Let's Play, I'll actually do the whistle quest. But for now, I just want to be able to call my horse whenever I need to. And we're gonna, yeah, cowardly. Yes, I want you to follow me around. You know what? You're gonna be... Oh, there's a lot of new stuff in there. What? There's a Dark Brotherhood saddle now? Traveler saddle, but what? This is cool. Yeah, there's a lot of new stuff in here. Elthrice? Okay. I usually use the dragon bone, but only after killing several dragons, so it kind of feels like you've crafted this dragon bone armor. But usually I'll just start with the original equipment, or like a travel saddle, which has bags and stuff in it, because this mod allows you to use your horse as a storage container. And it just, the original equipment has some bags and stuff on it, but you can't use it obviously. And I think the traveler saddle just adds some more to make it a little bit more realistic of why you're carrying a bunch of stuff on there. So yeah, but I'll go ahead and give mine dragon bone armor just because it looks cool. And you know what? I don't need my horse dying. They have a freaking... Every horse that I get dies. Like a lot. Like, the game seems to be out for me when I get a horse. Even if I set it to cowardly, even if I set it to run away from which was what cowardly is, it's ridiculous. I'll be, yes, dynamic speed, definitely. I'll be like, I don't know, I'll be miles and miles away because I told the horse to wait and stay here, and then I'll go and kill something like a dragon or whatever, and then I'll come back and find out, oh no, my horse has been killed by, I don't know, some random troll or something. It's just, it's alright, okay. What was I doing? Okay, you can loot while on horseback as well, but I'm probably not gonna do any of that. Oh, okay, so get out of there. Do that. Oh, come on. Okay. Gotta change this again. Always, always, always. Okay. Now, set it to toggle. Toggle. On, off. Excellent. Oops. Alright. Alright, so Deadly Dragons. Get back there, we go. I like a little tougher dragons. What was it? Dragon Combat Overhaul as its own assault setting, so I'll leave those as 0 here. And yes, I don't need storekeepers and horse people dying because of a dragon attack. I've had that happen a lot too. Actually, they die more of vampire attacks than they do of dragon attacks. And what do we got? No dynamic safe containers. I think everything else is okay. Yep. Dynavision. I'm going to do that as dynamic. And this is the combat. We want that to be very low. And we want interior to be about midway. And we want running to be low-ish. It's okay if it's higher than combat. And okay, that looks good. That's the Civil War overhaul. Which I don't think I really need to set anything. And Dragon Combat overhaul. Alright, these. Okay, so assault. 1, 2, or 3 dragons, that'll work. That could be interesting, 3 dragons coming out. Okay, equipping overhaul is actually really freaking cool. It any weapons that you have favorited actually show up equipped on your character in third person. It's really neat because it, you know, you walk around with tons and tons and tons of weapons, but you only have your sword out or your bow and arrows out, and it's like, you know, where are those things actually hiding on your character? And this kind of takes care of that. Okay, and this is another follower mod that just kind of changes Ayla, takes her out of the vanilla followers, gives her a lot of extra lines of dialogue. Unfortunately, they're not all voiced, and I've already come across a couple of lines that the line, you have to basically read it just because there's no sound coming out. She's talking, but there's no sound coming out. ESF companions. I've got a couple of guild quests that I'll be changing up, but this one basically makes it so that, you know, you can make the requirements to join the companions a little bit more, I don't know, a little stricter. Like, you have to do more, you have to either do more quests, or it just, you know, takes more time. You don't go from nobody to Harbinger of the Companions just because you played for an hour, you know. But I'm not going to be messing with it on the testing here. Console, yes, I want that to be full screen. And this one, oh Christ, no, I don't need that many. Let's do 720. Oh, 700. Oh shit. You're fucking with me now. There we go. That way I can do 30 days if I need to. Ooh, yes. Follower commentary overhaul. Seriously? Best mod ever. This basically takes all of the useless chatter that your followers do. Let's use Lydia, for example. Constantly just saying the same thing over and over and over again. What this mod does is it will actually take whoever voiced Lydia, it will actually take her other lines for other characters in the game that she voiced, and use those lines, you know, fully voiced and everything. We'll unlock some things like locational quips, if she has some information about a location that you're at, even if it's from another character in the game, you know, it'll add it to stuff that Lydia says. And the how often is great, because it reduces the amount of times that they actually sit there and say stuff. So they're not just sitting there, you know, every 30 seconds saying something. They may, you know, wait several minutes between saying stuff, and that's nice. It's so nice. I don't know of any better way to say it. It's just nice. Okay, so I haven't started yet. Harvest Overhaul. Right. Yeah, Harvest Overhaul is a mod that basically goes in. So if you're picking, you know, say you see this, I don't know, this thing of flowers on the ground, and you're going to pick this flowers. You can see graphically, you can see like 10 flowers in this bush, but you go to pick it and you get one flower, and then that doesn't grow back and for like 10 days, as long as you stay out of that cell for 10 days for it to reset itself. Then that flower will be back and you can get another one. What this does is it looks at those clusters of flowers and it says, okay, that cluster should probably yield 4, maybe 5 flowers out of it when you go to pick it. So when you actually pick, you'll get 4 or 5 flowers out of it instead of 1. So it's become one of my more essential things, especially when I finally started doing some alchemy. And this is kind of cool because you can change this stuff. So if you play like a thief character, you can change some of these to where when you're pickpocketing, you might find additional money in there, or you might find gems, given a percentage of the gems that you might find in them, in their pockets, instead of just the basic coins that they might have. You can, if you're harvesting oysters, you can set them to always have pearls, so that's not such a rare thing to find. What is this? Enabled. I don't have the Harvest Overhaul creatures, so this basically gives you more ingredients from creatures, like more meat, more bones, more teeth, whatever it is that you get from those creatures, you get more of it. There's another mod that I have used. I won't be using it for this character, but I really do enjoy it, called Hunterborn. And what that mod does is it kind of completely overhauls the animals in the game. So it adds a lot of new crafting stuff, like being able to skin the animals so that you actually get, no matter what the animal is, you can actually get the skin, lower quality pelts, but you can craft them. You can combine several lower quality pelts to make a higher quality pelt. You can tan the leather to make a more refined leather, so you get a little extra bonuses on your leather armor, like it's a little bit stronger than, or a little tougher than regular leather armor that you would create. You can dye leathers to, if you want to customize the colors. You can harvest a ton of meat from an animal, like if you take down a deer or an elk out in the plains or whatever. In the vanilla game, you get maybe 2 meat, but usually only the 1 for an entire deer. With the Hunterborn mod, it's realistic as far as an elk weighs several hundred pounds, so you're gonna get a lot of meat from that elk, and I think it gives you like 40 some odd meat from from an elk. A bear gives you like 50 some odd meat. I think a wolf gives you like 10 meat. It's ridiculous. And after 2 or 3 kills, you're basically, well, actually not even 2 or 3 kills, like maybe 1 or 2 kills, you're pretty much over encumbered. But for the type of playthrough, if you want to play like a hunter character, it's a good mod to have. And I've actually thought about doing a full hunter playthrough, like kind of not even worrying about the main quest, not even worrying about the Civil War, and just starting a character with this alternate start just out in the wilds and kind of doing a full survivalism, you know, Frostfall, I Need, Hunterborn, and, you know, making your own weapons, your own armor, your own arrows and bows, and just kind of surviving in Skyrim. I don't think that'll be a Let's Play, but that's one of the playthroughs I had wanted to do for a while, and I actually got started on the idea of doing it watching. There was a series on YouTube called Man vs. Skyrim, and if you haven't seen it, you need to see it. It's brilliant. This guy, I wish he was still doing it. I think he was playing on the PS3 version, so it's not even mods. He's just playing the vanilla game, but he did it in such a way, commentary on it, the editing that he did with it, so that it is like watching an episode of Man vs. Wild, but it's Man vs. Wild in Skyrim. You know, Man vs. Skyrim. And he gets really funny with it. Later on in the series, you know, he stumbles across the main quest and you know, goes through some of that, but the first probably 20 episodes or so that he's doing is just like a Man vs. Wild episodes, and it was brilliantly done. And he gets a dog. What was the dog's name? I don't even remember now. But at some point the dog dies, and he does this whole little mourning thing for this dog that had traveled with him for several episodes. Anyways, go check it out. It's Man vs. Skyrim. I think the YouTube account was not crap. You know what? Cool. This thing is still picking this up. All right. I can check it out now. Actually, Tube Man vs. Skyrim. Yeah, there he is. I'm going to pause that. 1-800-PWN time. Stop. There you go. 1-800-PWN time is the account that it's on, and the series is called Man vs. Skyrim. And seriously, it's brilliant. Go watch it. Close that. Okay, back to the. Oh, I do have a rest of all creatures. Huh. All right. New meat, new loot. Saber cats. We want that. Flesh and gamma. Flesh and heart. 2 flesh. Fine. Fine. Yes, we want new cookie recipes. Let's add them. Why not? Let's get some crushing. They can be forged and grain mills. And we'll leave those off just because they're kind of cheaty. Okay, well then I guess I can turn this on. I thought I had these turned off. Okay, immersive armors shouldn't need any of these changed. We should be alright. Wait, what's alternate start? Changes initial settings. Ooh, yeah, let's do that. Crafting, questing. No, I want to keep those in there. Shields, armor, yep, let's do that. I didn't realize that it had a alternate start thing on there, so that's good. I'll have to remember that for the actual Let's Play. Ah, crap. Every now and then the mods get, like the mod configuration gets kind of overloaded after you've done several of them. So you have to back your way back out so that these will reload. And it's just scripting, it's heavy scripting. You just have to get out of the menu to let the scripts finish out, and then get back in the menu and you're good to go. Not too bad. Immersive Creatures is a really freaking cool mod. It adds a ton of mobs to the world. A lot of unique ones too. I'm gonna go with for testing. I'm gonna leave that on Adept, I think. I'll probably change that to Expert when I actually go into play. Where was the... Oh, Dragon Souls. There we go. Turn that off. It's pretty neat. It does stuff like skeletons have a, by default, 40% chance to resurrect. So when you kill a skeleton, it may not be done. It may come back. So that makes some Draugr areas a little hectic sometimes, especially because it adds a lot of higher level skeletons in as well. So as you get into the higher levels, you may find yourself surrounded quickly. Immersive HUD, we're going to set that to a toggle. And we'll do a fast fade of those. Immersive HUD is one of my, what I would consider an essential mod. It basically... Oh yeah, I haven't turned off I need yet. It basically turns off all of the HUD elements until they're needed. Like if I had a bow and arrow out, then I would see the crosshairs. Or if I'm targeting something, the crosshairs pop up. But when I'm not targeting anything, they fade. So it just gets it out of the way. If you need to see the compass, there's a button that you can hit to toggle the compass on and off. Normally it's a hold, and the compass will show up, and then it'll go away when you let go, but I like to set it as toggle. Excuse me. That A Matter of Time mod is kind of neat because it allows you to see what time of day it is, even when you're in dungeons and whatever, delving deep into places. So if there's certain things, like certain spells that you have, if you have like a spell overhaul mods, and certain spells you can only do once a day or certain times of the day, this allows you to see what time it is in game. As you can see, it's 5:58 a.m. in the game time right now. It tells you the date, so if you have any holiday mods like I do with the wet and cold holidays, that allows you to see the exact date that it is. You get your sunrise, your sunset, so the sunrise is starting to come up now. Then you can see the, of course here I can do this. So you got like the sun that comes up, moon that goes down, tells you the moon phase that it is. So if you play like a werewolf character, and you have, which in the vanilla game it doesn't matter what the moon phase is, but if you have a mod like Moonlight Tales is a mod that is great for werewolf characters. You can control, or you can set it so that on a full moon you're going to turn into a werewolf no matter what, if you want to play it that way. It can also be set to have a small chance any other moon phase if you want to do it like a 5% chance or whatever. So you may be in the middle of town somewhere, and all of a sudden you start changing into werewolf, and you're basically, if you don't want everybody in town hating you, you better find a place to get the hell out of there before you turn. Otherwise, everybody will be attacking you. Okay, so let's turn those back off. Oh, and it also, oops, it also hides the health, the magicka, and the stamina bars until they're actually being used. So, like sprinting, see that since it used up a little bit of stamina, the stamina bar comes up, and once it's full, it goes back away. So it gets rid of it. And even when you have the HUD toggled off, it'll still show up the bars as they're needed, and then they go away. So it's cool. It's a great mod. It's nice for if you want to do screenshots and things like that. You don't have to go into the console, toggle the all of the UI elements, take your screenshot, go back in, toggle the UI elements again, and then you're back. Of course. Oops. There we go. There we go. Toggle menus off, back on. Alright, so let's see. Do TM. Now the menus are off. So all the UI is off. But even like, see, no HUD, no nothing comes up. Even the I need icons are gone. So it makes it a completely blank screen. But if you don't remember that you've done that, then oops, there we go. Yeah, because even like the console goes away. So if you don't remember that you've done that, you can very quickly get into problems with immersive HUD, or iHUD as it's called. As long as you keep your needs down so that those little icons don't pop up, and you can actually configure I need to never show those things if you want to. I like to have them as just a reminder to be like, oh yeah, okay, quick eat, drink thing. You can do your screenshots and completely uncluttered HUD. No, wrong one. That one. Alright. Back in. Immersive HUD. Oh, yep, I need. Here we go. We're going to disable that. Actually, before I do that, I'll kind of explain what some of these things do. You can adjust the time scale. I normally play with a 10 time scale. The default is 20, which means 1 minute in real life is 20 minutes in game. I usually set that to 10, so it's 1 minute in real life is 10 minutes in game, just so that stuff like this I need doesn't feel like I'm constantly having to stop and eat or stop and drink or go to sleep or whatever. I can play for 3 hours or so and only have to do like one meal, or sleep once, wake up, have breakfast, be able to go through the day, which, of course, 1 minute in real life, 20 minutes in game, just over like an hour and a half, I think, in real time is basically a day in game. If you double that, then 3 hours of actual playtime is a day in game, which is kind of where I like to keep it. So if I'm playing, I'm usually playing for about a 3-hour session, sometimes longer, of course. But this allows me to have that to where when I sit down to play, I'm only playing for that particular day, and I don't feel like I'm constantly monitoring my food and drink and all that stuff. But this is kind of cool because you can, if you want to see animations, you can turn it on so that when you eat something, your character will actually pull out like a loaf of bread and eat it, or take a drink from a whatever it's called, flagon. You can set it so your followers have to eat or drink as well if you want to be fully immersed in it. And yeah, they'll sit down and have meals with you. You can make it to where your horse has needs, food, drink. They don't actually die. You can make dangerous diseases, and you can make it to where there's actual cannibalism. This is new. Weird. Yeah, you can do drunk effects. So yeah, alcohol effects. So if you drink a lot of booze in game, your vision will go blurry and your character will kind of stumble. Death is normally disabled, so you won't die if you don't take care of your character's needs. But when I'm doing an actual let's play, an immersion let's play, I'll put that on. You'll still get the negative effects from not eating and drinking, which usually will be things like reduced stamina, reduced health, reduced magicka, slower movement, if you don't get a whole lot of sleep, or if you don't sleep for days, delusional, you might get some blurry vision, stuff like that. But it by default won't actually kill you to not take care of all that stuff. I like to turn that on though when I do playthroughs with it. These things are a little much for me. Like decreased food availability actually reduces the amount of food that you find in the game, so it makes every bit of food more important to hold on to. And this combined with food spoilage, that's too much for me. This is after 3 in-game days? Some variability over time represented by percentages, adjective next to the name of the food items in your inventory. Okay, so they actually show you what their rate of decay is. Yeah, this actually adds spoiled food. So you may find a barrel of an apple, an apple in a barrel or whatever, but it'll be spoiled, so you can't eat it, otherwise you'll damage yourself by eating it. You may poison yourself or whatever. That gets a little much for me. That's going a little, like, if I'm doing a full, and I'll probably do this like with the Hunter one, doing a full like survival immersion gameplay or whatever, then I'd probably turn on the food spoilage. But when I'm doing a let's play just to have fun, I'll still do Frostfall, I'll still do I Need, just because I enjoy those aspects of it. They're more realistic to me. Just basically because Skyrim's a cold place. It doesn't make sense that you can walk around completely naked in this freezing cold place and not die. And likewise, it makes no sense to me that your character can go forever without eating, without drinking, without sleeping, and not have any problems from that. So Frostfall and I Need, I like them for any kind of playthrough, but for a fully survival playthrough, I would probably turn on the food spoilage, but on a regular one I won't. Here's where you can turn off those little icons down here, so you can actually make it to where it's just text, I believe. Yeah, so you can check your status to see if your character's hungry, thirsty, whatever, or you can do the little widgets, or you can turn them off completely just by disabling them there, so that they will not ever show up, and you just use the text if you want to do it that way. But I like the widgets. They're little, because they're constantly there, so it's not something that you have to constantly think about checking. You just look down, it's, oh, I need to drink something. Okay, cool. Okay. Oh, right, I was going to disable that. All that, and I didn't even do what I was going to do. Okay. Lanterns of Skyrim adds basically street lamps all along the roads. So when you're traveling at night, the way I like to play, I don't do a whole lot of fast travel, unless I'm just doing a full min-max playthrough where I'm not really doing the story. I'm just going through to play the game. Then I'll do fast travel. But when I want to go through and actually kind of craft a story as I'm doing it, I like to walk or ride a horse pretty much anywhere I go, or with the better fast travel, use the carriages or boats to get where I need to go if I want to go somewhere quicker. But I just love walking around Skyrim. I love exploring the world. So yeah, that's my thing. Having these lanterns on the roads, especially at night, makes it helpful. You don't need to have night vision, or you don't need to have a torch out all the time. If you're following along the roads, if you're going off in the wilderness, you'll need that. But if you're on the roads, you can see the lights dotted along to be able to at least lead you from town to town or city to city. I do like to increase the checking though, so that way it's not running that script every 5 seconds. It just seems a little excessive. And you can set it to where they're always on if you don't want them to. What did I do? How the hell did I do that? 30 seconds, good. And I've got all of these patches, okay. And yeah, so it also added areas in Dawn Guard. There was one that added lanterns in Solstheim, but it wasn't made by the author, so I've never actually used it. So Solstheim might be interesting. Walking around at night. Lock overhaul. Fucking seriously. Best mod. Well, maybe not best mod, but huge contender for best mod. Especially if you're not playing a thief character and you don't want to worry about raising your or wasting perks on your lockpicking skill. With your lock overhaul, you can okay, so yeah, you can do lock requirements, which means in order to pick adept locks you need to have at least 50 skill in either lockpicking or smashing locks. You can use one-handed weapons or two-handed weapons, or only two-handed weapons, or two and one-handed weapons, or all weapons can be used to smash locks. I'm going to do the 2 and 1. So this means if you have 50 skill in, say, a mace or one-handed weapons, and you've got a mace on you, you can bash the lock and it will open that chest. So you don't have to sit there and pick it with a lockpick. Love it. God damn it. If you play a mage character, you can unlock with magic. You actually get an unlock spell. And I believe it allows you to use destruction magic, or, well, any magic really. If you want to do alteration, destruction, or all spells, you can do that. But it also has a spell, I believe, called Unlock. And as long as I believe the unlock spell is alteration. So if you get a 25 skill in alteration, you can unlock apprentice locks. If you have a 50 skill, you can unlock adept locks, etc. The frost skill malice, which sounds like it negatively affects your skill, but what it does is it means you need 50 less on skill if you're using frost magic, because you're actually freezing the lock. So instead of needing 50 skill to unlock adept locks, you would need basically 0 skill in frost magic to be able to unlock it. It's pretty cool. I usually turn that on even if I'm not using a mage character, but and the activate lock requirements means if you come up against an adept lock but you don't have at least 50 skill either in smash or magic or lock picking, then you can't pick that lock regardless. It also has auto lock picking, which is really cool if you don't want to deal with the lock picking. The problem with it is it's a randomized thing. So if you go up against a lock to pick it, even if you have well over the skill that you need to get that lock undone, like if you come up against a novice lock and you have 100 skill in lock picking because you've picked so many locks, but you do the auto lock pick and you choose at that point when you're going to pick the lock and you choose auto lock pick, you may still break 3 lock picks. If you're carrying around 1,000 lock picks, it's no big deal. But if you're with Percus Maximus, lock picks actually have weight now, so you aren't going to be carrying around as many, and that could get to be troublesome. So I usually don't do the auto lock picking. Allow, yes, increase. Sure, why not? And yes, we want crime in case somebody detects you. Like if somebody sees you picking a lock, then it's counted as a crime. Although I think there was a bug, if I remember correctly. I think that there was a bug that this actually was on any lock, even stuff that you found in. I'm going to turn that off actually. If you found a lock in a dungeon somewhere, so it doesn't belong to anybody, and it doesn't say steal from or anything like that, if you have a follower with you that didn't like any crime, like their what's their demeanor is called, like says no crime or any crime or neutral or whatever it is, if their demeanor is no crime and you have this follower with you and you pick this lock in the dungeon that doesn't belong to anybody, but you have that crime detection turned on in the lock overhaul, I think there was a bug that they would be like, oh, you committed a crime, I'm out of here. So don't like that. Lightning during thunderstorms is quite cool just to see it, and you can make it hostile, which is always fun. So if you get struck by lightning, you're gonna get hurt. But I've always run it with it being hostile, and I've never actually been hit by lightning. So we'll see if it happens at some point. There was what was the frequency delay between strikes? Yeah, that was going to be 20 seconds. 20 seconds. So that means that lightning is not just constantly striking during thunderstorms. And okay, and I think that's good. And I usually always have Moonlight Tales whether I play a werewolf character or not, because it does also include werebears in the game, which I don't believe are in the vanilla game. They're there, the assets for them are there. They were supposed to be added in from Dawnguard, but for some reason they took them out at the last minute, I guess, before releasing it. So this actually adds them back into the game. But it also has, since there's no, I haven't actually started yet, NPCs can be infected by werewolves. So if a werewolf attacks another person and they don't die from that attack, there's a chance that they'll catch the lycanthropy and werewolves will start multiplying in the game. It also allows, yeah, here's the moon phases thing. So since I don't actually have werewolf right now, I can't change these, but when you get werewolf, lycanthropy. You can change. Here you go. The new moon chance 5%, 5%, full moon chance 100%. So you can actually change these to 0% if you only want to be a force change on full moon. You can even change full moon to 0%, so you never have any force changes if you want to do it that way. When I do play werewolves, I like to have all these at 0 and this one at 100%. So it's more of the traditional werewolves can be, can blend in any other time during the month except for that full moon, those 3 days of the full moon. And the warning duration means visually on screen and sounds audioly, you get a warning. You get some sort of a flash on the screen or sounds to tell you, hey, you're about to transform. You better hide. This is in-game time. So if you change the time scale like I do to 10, then it's 14 minutes in-game time, which is a little bit more than a full minute. It's basically like a minute and a half of the screen pulsing and getting like growl sounds and heartbeat sounds and stuff like that. So you have basically a minute and a half to get out of town or get into your home if you're in a town that you have a home, just to get away from NPCs that might be not liking that you're a werewolf. In the normal game time scale at 20, that basically gives you about 30 seconds to get 30 to 45 seconds or so to get out. So again, that's one of the reasons why I like playing with a little bit more of an extended time scale. And if you have the Ring of Hersine, if you've done that quest, you can actually change these things too. So it's basically saying the Ring of Hersine allows you to control your transformations if you want to where you can increase the duration of the warning, or you can change the time that the transformation forces if you do a forced transformation. It also allows you, I believe, where was that at? Yeah, so NPC infections. So you can turn on NPC to NPC, player to NPC. So you can infect other NPCs if you have lycanthropy. NPC werewolves can infect you if they attack you, and other NPCs out in the world can infect other NPCs. So you have werewolves all over the place if you want to do that. Which for testing, I'm not going to do that, because that can get kind of crazy as you get later into the game. Let's see. So yeah, you can change the types of sounds that it does, music that plays if you want to, which I mean it plays the classic. Well, it's not really the classic werewolf sound, werewolf music, but it's reminiscent of the old, like the horror movie from like the 50s, the werewolf, Wolfman. I think it's reminiscent of the music that's playing during that movie. And I mean it's cool, but once or twice, and it's all right, cool. But I've heard it several times, so I don't need to do that. What? Oh, cool. These are some new things. This was always in there, which is very nice. When you transform to werewolf and vampires the same way, when you're a vampire lord, all your equipment stuff gets unequipped, and you have to go back in and re-equip everything. What this does is it keeps a log of everything that you have equipped. So when you transform to a werewolf, when you come out of that transformation, it will run a script and re-equip you automatically. That's very handy. Allow revert. Some mods put help text down here and some don't. Power jump activation key Q. Huh. I'll have to check that one, because I think I have Q assigned. No, yeah, Q is assigned to the favorites menu. Really? What? Why would you assign that? That's like the default key for the favorites menu. Why would, I don't know. And it looks like it lets you revert your form. That's cool. No beast form cooldown. This is nice. So this is something that I always thought made no sense. The Vampire Lord can change from human form to vampire form whenever they want, however many times they want, as often, you know, no cooldown in between. Werewolves were once a day, and with the Ring of Hercene, I think that made it twice a day. Come on, if you want to play a werewolf, that sucks to only be able to do that. So the no beast form cooldown takes that away, so you can do like a Vampire Lord now and switch into werewolf form anytime that you want to. And this is kind of a cool deal as well. If you are a werewolf or a werebear, like if you're a werewolf, wolves will be friendly to you in your human form. If you're a werebear, bears will be friendly to you in your human form, just because they can, I guess they can smell the beast blood or whatever. And yeah, you get feeding skills, or by feeding you get skills, which I guess combat would be the only one that makes sense on there. Yeah, if you get werewolf form, you can actually change how you look, or werebear. Okay, NPC events. Oh, so you need to be a minimum level of 6 to start seeing werewolves, werebears, or werewolf hunters, or werebear hunters, lycanthropy hunters. There you go. Cool. I don't have that on there. No trackers. Okay, cool. So we'll get out of that. And more HUD. Also a handy thing. Yes, always. Good. Show book skill. Yes. Yeah. And yes. Basically what this does is, and it actually works with the immersive HUD, to show you extra information. Like, let's see. Let me take those out and then drop them. Oops. Okay, so normally it would show just caret on the ground, maybe the weight and the value. Now it shows you the restore 1 point of health when you eat a carrot. It also shows you down at the bottom how many are in the stack. There's 3 carrots in the stack. Tells you the carry weight that you are currently carrying. I don't know what the 5 is. Interesting. I'll have to check that out. How much gold you have. Any armor that you pick up is going to show you the armor rating and the plus or minus on what you're currently wearing for that particular armor. So if you're wearing like a leather cuirass and you go and you're looking at an iron cuirass, it'll show you like plus however many armor points based on what you're currently wearing that you would get by wearing that armor. So it's just a cool deal. Yeah, to there. Whoa. What did I do? Oh, no, I don't want to do that. And I'm going to put these guys back. I thought I disabled that. One second. Yeah, I did. Oh, maybe it was just telling me that this particular cell never respawns, so, okay. Alright, so where was I? Yeah, so the Moorhood, and I think I displayed a little bit of it in the last mod testing, that, you know, ingredients, like alchemy ingredients, when you learn what the 4 effects are, or any of the 4 effects, it'll show you what effects that you know that this particular plant does. So it also works for books. If you haven't read a book, then you'll just see what the book name is, and if that book gives you a skill, it'll tell you what the skill is. But if you have read a book, then it'll put a little icon next to the name of an eye to show you, yes, you've already seen this book. Excuse me. And if you're like me, I collect all the books in the game whenever I come across them, and I constantly was running into problems where I would have like 3 or 4 copies of the book just because I couldn't remember if I'd already seen it or not, or picked it up. So when I would get back to my house to put it up on the shelf, I'd be like, well, shit, there's already a copy there, and I've got a copy in a chest somewhere, and I've got a copy in my inventory. So this helps to not do that. There's another mod that I was using for a while called Unread Books Glow. So any books that you haven't read will glow blue for just a normal book, red for I think it was red for a skill book, and green for a spell book. But of course, you know, that gets a little, if you're going for the more immersion gameplay, it kind of pulls you out of the gameplay to see glowing books all over the place, you know. So I was glad when I saw that Moorhood had that ability to do the books, which books were read and stuff, because that allowed me to take off of the Unread Books Glow thing. Morning fogs just makes gives it more chance to have a fog frequency in the morning. I don't like it to be 100% because that's not exactly accurate. Yeah, we'll randomize that. So it basically just increases the frequency of fog around, especially around watery areas in the mornings, which was also made by the same guy that did the Lanterns of Skyrim, Manny GT, who is kind of like Chesco. He's got a lot of very popular mods, and the mods that he does are usually pretty bug free. And alright, let's go back to I think I need to back out again. Organized Bandits in Skyrim is what OBIS is. What this does is it adds actual bandit factions, and I don't know that I ever noticed the boobs before. It adds different factions of bandits, so, and actual bandit factions will fight other bandit factions. But it also adds more bandit spawns. You can activate, yeah, you can give them potions, which they'll actually use potions if you give it to them. I don't know, it's a cool mod for more battle, basically. And you can adjust the maximum number of spawns, maximum additional spawns. So if you want to have just tons and tons of bandits all over the place, bump that up another 1 or 2. And what that means is not 1 or 2 additional bandits will show up in the world. It means 1 or 2 additional bandits for every bandit that actually spawns. So if there are 100 bandits spawned in the world, you may have another 100 or 200 bandits in the world as well, by just increasing that spawn. And it's the this bit of vanilla spawns by number. I don't know what the bandit vanilla spawns is, but I don't know. There used to be more options for that, though. I'm wondering what the deal is. Why there's not so many options. It might be because I have a companion mod for this, made by somebody else, that fixes some of the problems that OBS has, because OBIS has not been updated in a long time, and the companion mod, well, I say companion, not companion like follower mod, but companion as in it's a companion to the OBIS mod. It kind of fixes some of those problems, and in doing that, what it does is it actually replaces the normal plugin that is used for OBIS, and I'm guessing in doing that he's taken off all of the other options. So I don't know, we'll see. Player voice set, I just wanted to check it out. And I guess I gotta back out, let it do its thing, just to see how it works. I don't know if I'm going to use it in my actual playthrough, but it seemed like it might be kind of cool, because when you're fighting other NPCs, how they do their taunts, and they'll say stuff like, you can't win this, and whatever. With the player voice sets, it gives you those voices, and you can pick what kind of voice you want to have. And Serana apparently is a unique voice. The woman that voiced her, I guess, only did Serana, so if you have a character and you want a more kind of a sultry-ish voice, then go for that. I usually tend to go, I don't know what Wolfie is. I'm wondering. I usually go for the male cynical, which is it's the same guy that did, I think it's the same guy that did Shigareth. And you can also do the standard male Dunmer, male Khajiit. For some reason, there are no female Khajiit. Were there? Yeah, there were. But there's no female Khajiit. Huh. I wonder if it now detects what sex you've chosen, although it still gives you these female commander and young eager and commoner. I don't know. But yeah, there are no female Khajiit followers. That's what it was. There are follower mods that will actually allow you to recruit female Khajiit followers if you want to do that. And there's a mod that goes with that called more follower voices, or more voices for followers, or something like that. That actually takes the in-game voices and gives them to your followers, gives the lines and stuff to your followers, which is essentially similar to the follower commentary overhaul, but it's intended to work for custom follower mods, or like the one that I was talking about that allows you to recruit pretty much anybody. Like, you can recruit children to be mods, you can recruit, or to be followers, you can recruit female Khajiit and Argonians, which I don't know that there's any female Argonian followers in the vanilla game. But yeah, so any NPC, you can basically, it gives you a little dialogue option that says follow me, and they'll be like, okay, we'll follow you. But yeah, I usually do that. And what I want to use is a taunt. I'm going to use Z. And is it going to say it?
You won't even live to regret this.
Yeah, there you go.
You afraid to fight me? You afraid to fight me?
So he gets a taunt. You can say the taunt whenever you want to. But actually, while you're fighting, your character will, taunt whoever you're fighting as well. But yeah, it's like I said, I wanted to try it out just to see how it works, and whether or not I'm going to stick with it, I don't know. We'll find out. Crap, I meant to disable this. This mod is actually kind of bugged. When you use the alternate start mod, this mod doesn't work until you disable it, make a save, then re-enable the mod. But I'll need to remember that for my actual playthrough because I'm going to be playing as Khajiit, and I like that this has an actual hotkey for night vision, so you don't have to actually go in and choose night eye and be swapping back and forth between your night eye power and shouts and stuff like that. I like having just a hotkey that says, okay, hit in, I've got night vision now, and I don't have to, you don't have to do the juggle. So you'll have to remember to, when I start my actual playthrough, to not have this mod activated until after I get through all this. Pumping iron is cool. Oh god, my body weight's already 75. And again, the character that I'm going to be playing is going to be starting out kind of a weakling. So if you take your character's body weight when you're actually creating the character and you set it to 0, which would basically be weakling or whatever, as you're actually going around fighting and just running around the world, your training will increase. And as your training increases, when you sleep is when your training actually gets applied to your body weight, and you basically go from the 0 to 100 scale on the body weight, and that takes your character, let's see, am I in the light here? Yeah. And it takes your character, see those big beefy arms? That's the 75 body weight for the Nord. If that was at 0, his arms would be kind of little skinny, little twigs. I mean, they would still have some muscle on them, but they would be real skinny. So as you're actually running around and fighting and playing your game, your character's body weight will continue to increase, and your muscle mass and stuff like that will continue to increase. So you'll visually see your character getting stronger or more powerful, and you're seeing your character train as you're playing. So it's a cool little immersion mod, and this is another one that Gopher made. So Gopher did immersive HUD, he did Predator Vision, he did the Dynavision, and this Pumping Iron mod. And he's got I think he's got a couple more Skyrim mods. He does a lot more Fallout and Fallout New Vegas mods, but he's got several Skyrim mods that he's done as well. And it's pretty much Gopher, Chesko, Isoku, who did the I Need, and I believe he did the Wet and Cold, and Manny, GT. Those are all kind of my my little corral of essential modders. Like almost anything that they do, I'll use that as a mod, because they're high quality mods. They're generally bug free, although they may conflict with other mods, and it's not necessarily the problem of their mod in particular. It's just the way that they work together with other mods may conflict, scripts overlapping and stuff like that. But even in cases where they do conflict, they're usually pretty good about telling you when something may not work properly with another mod, especially if it's a popular mod. Of course they can't test every obscure mod that's out there. There's 30,000 mods for Skyrim out there now. There's no way they can test against all of them to make sure that they work, but they do usually test against the more popular ones to make sure that everything's working properly. Okay, so moving on. Where was I at? I have pumping iron. Save hotkey is it's an actual SKSE script, so I technically don't need the actual mod to do it. All the mod does is allow you to change the hotkey that does it. All it basically does is, it's kind of like the quick save, which is F5. Quick save has a problem sometimes though, to where it can crash the game, and a lot of times even Bethesda says, if you're running into problems with your game crashing with quick save, don't use quick save. Go and do the normal new save method like that. What this save hotkey thing does is, by default you press F11, but with the mod, with the little plugin that comes with it, if you load it up, it'll let you change that. But if you press F11, it'll do a full save. Which it did not do there. Why did it not do? Save hotkey. Customize key. Yeah, should be 11. F11. There it goes. There. So F11 now goes and it actually does a save. So there you go. 210. Abandoned prison. So instead of doing the quick save like this, it actually makes a full save, and it allows you to do it basically as fast as you would do a quick save. And I've actually seen, there's another mod that's out there, and I've seen some people use it, which actually automates that process of making normal saves. So instead of, you can actually in-game turn off autosaves, and then you can install a mod that will handle that for you. And instead of actually doing an autosave, what it does is it does a full save just on a timer, like every 10 minutes. Like if you normally would have the autosave happen every 10 minutes, or if you autosave on travel, or autosave on going into a location or whatever. What this mod does is it kind of emulates that, but it uses the full saves to do it instead of an autosave to do it. And to avoid overloading your saves by creating a new full save every time, what the mod would do is you could configure it to say, like, do 10, say 10 saves, and it would basically create 10 save slots and overwrite. So once you get to that 10th one, the next time it would do an auto save, which is a full save, it would overwrite the oldest one with that information, and then start its way back up to the newest one, and then go back again, of course. So that way you still have your full saves that are numbered, but then you have this block of 10 saves that are constantly being overwritten, that act as like autosaves, where the normal game keeps 3 autosaves and 1 quick save and the numbered normal saves. So it just gives you a little bit more customizability. I didn't like it though. I've actually used it just because autosave and quick save and regular saves, they all pause the game a little bit to do their autosave. But autosave tends to be A, less intrusive about it, and B, it usually doesn't do an autosave while you're in the middle of combat. Just because the game engine knows that it's a bad idea to save in the middle of combat. So with this mod, it kind of ignores that, and it may save in the middle of combat. God, my throat is going dry. Okay, so yeah, the mod, while you're in the middle of combat, may save, and there's times that can get buggy, whether if you're crouching and it saves. It's a vanilla bug. I don't think anybody's been able to actually fix it yet. But if you're crouching and you make a save, there is a good chance that save will be corrupted. Makes no sense, but that's a bug. So when you go to load the game the next time, you may crash. You may not be able to load your game at that point. You just have to go back to an earlier save where you weren't crouching when you made a save. So that mod that does the auto saves, it actually had an option in there that you could toggle on to where it would basically disable itself while you're crouching. But it didn't have a mod, or it didn't have a toggle to disable itself while you're in combat. So you'd be fighting, and then all of a sudden pause for 2 or 3 seconds while it made a save, and then go back into fighting. Which that may have been updated. It was about a year ago or so the last time I used it, so it may have been updated. They may have it now to where it doesn't, where it doesn't do a save while you're in the middle of combat, and I may check it out again. Because it was handy. It was nice to have those 10 saves that would rotate. Especially for me, I like to, anytime I would level up or whatever, I like to essentially make a save at that moment. So like a hard save at that moment. So when or if I want to add any mods or whatever, I'll make a hard save before doing it. And then if something screws up or whatever, I've always got a save that I can go back to. That's not too far back. And that kind of worked the same way, having those 10 or 20 or however many you wanted to make auto saves, to where you could if you screwed something up royally and you need to go back, you had those automatically saving, and you had at least 8 to 10 options that you could go back to. It's just nice to have. Okay, so moving on. I'm taking way too long to do these things. I was only planning on doing this very quickly, but I didn't think that I would be actually explaining what all these do. So shooting stars basically does what it says. It adds shooting stars in the night sky, which during clear weather, 8:30 to 6 on average, every 30 seconds a star will fall. Okay, so yeah, so somewhere on the night sky you may see little tiny streaks. I've seen a couple on earlier playthroughs. They're not very often, even though it says every 30 seconds. They don't happen every 30 seconds, or if they do happen every 30 seconds, they're not necessarily where you're actually looking. They may be in another part of the sky or whatever. and then it also adds in meteor showers and storms, so you can see a lot of them happening. And I guess it notifies you whenever that event is going on, so you can try to catch it if you wanted to. SkyUI, of course, is amazing. It's basically what makes Skyrim playable with a mouse and keyboard. I mean, it's playable with a mouse and keyboard even without SkyUI, and a lot of people don't like SkyUI, but they want to be able to still use this mod configuration menu, which requires SkyUI. So there is another mod that's called SkyUI Away, I think, that basically you install SkyUI, which comes with the mod configuration menu, then you install SkyUI Away, which leaves the mod configuration menu but puts all of the UI back to the default vanilla UI. So I don't know why anybody would like that, other than if they're playing with a controller. But when you're playing with a mouse and keyboard, my god, SkyUI is just, it's the best. The absolute best. And is this equipable armor before group use? Yeah, you can hotkey groups, so you can put armor and weapons in the 8 groups in your quick menu or your favorites menu, so that you can hotkey them and quickly switch between weapons that you've got equipped or armor that you're wearing, depending on if you're fighting. Like if you have, and this kind of goes into MMOs, people carrying multiple equip sets and stuff like that, where if you need more magic resistance because you're up against magic users, then you can quickly change to your equipment that you've enchanted for magic resistance. Or if you're going against a dragon that's breathing fire, you can change to your fire resistance equipment. Or an ice breathing dragon, you can change to your frost resistant, and etc. That goes a little overboard, but it is nice. For me, the way that I use it is, like if I'm playing a thief character, I'll usually have a melee set, which all uses the same armor, but may change some of the stuff like what necklace I'm wearing, or if I have gloves that increase your melee ability, like your one-handed skill or whatever, then the set will actually switch to those. Then if I want to go back to my bow, I have another set for the bow, and then I'll have necklaces and rings and gloves or whatever that increase my archery skill. And then I may have another set that for stuff like hoods and necklaces and rings again, that increase your bartering or your speech skill. So you can, while you're in town and you're buying and selling stuff, you can quickly switch to that equipment to get better prices or sell for more price or higher prices. So stuff like that. It's helpful. It's very helpful. And of course, with my magic characters, I have kind of the same deal. Only may have a set that again, magic resistance. Another set for doing more destruction damage, or using less magic and destruction. Another one for increasing the amount of healing that you do. Also, using less magic and healing, stuff like that. Restoration, whatever it's called. Go. Where was it? Oh yeah, map menu. I turned this off because I'm trying out the Warburg's map, and you'll see that here shortly, quote unquote shortly, and because it changes the actual map menu SkyUI complains when you open it up. So it's recommended to turn that off if you're going to use a map mod. That actually changes the menu itself, not like the high quality world map that I use. It doesn't change the actual map menu, it just changes the textures on the map, so it doesn't conflict with SkyUI at all. But the Warburg one, it actually changes the way that the map menu works. So SkyUI complains when you check it out. Splash of Rain is just a neat, another one by Asuko. He makes small mods that you don't really think about, and you don't really notice them until they're not there, and then you really notice them. You really notice the absence. Like Splash of Rain during storms. In the vanilla game, there's no raindrops. There's raindrops falling, but there's no little splashes on the ground. And since I started using this mod, and it shows little splashes on the ground, they're not like boom in your face, humongous splashes. They're just tiny little flicks here and there, that little splashes of rain. But I've played before without having this mod on, and since you don't have the splashes at that point, it's like you don't really think about it. It's just something doesn't feel right, something doesn't look right, until you think about it for a while and you're like, oh, there's no splashes, and you realize how used to the splashes you've gotten. A lot of people feel that way about something like Skyrim, which is a complete overhaul of the overhaul of Skyrim, and Percus Maximus is kind of similar to it. They've been using Skyrim for so long, and I've used Skyrim a lot, but I don't normally do it on most of my playthroughs. I've only used it on a couple of playthroughs, but some people use it on every playthrough that they do, and they've been using it for so long that they've forgotten what's still vanilla in the game. So when they start a playthrough where they don't have it, it's like a completely different experience. Like I know Gopher was going through this. There was some descriptions on some items that Skyrim actually adds these effects or these descriptions to these items, but he's played Skyrim for so long that he's used to that, and Percus Maximus doesn't add it, and he's testing out Percus Maximus now, and he spent, I don't know, 10-15 minutes going back and forth trying to determine why that wasn't there anymore. Why did Percus Maximus take it away, thinking that it was a vanilla thing, not just enhancing vanilla, but actually removed something from the vanilla game. And what it was that he was just so used to Skyrim, and Skyrim was what actually added it in the first place. So he didn't realize that. So I'm gonna change the vampire tax, because I doubt that I will get to level 25. I'm not going to be doing like I did on the last stream, 1, because it's Percus Maximus, so the perks are completely different, and 2, I don't need to be at level 214. That was insane. And yeah, we're going to do Alden's Wall, minimum level 25. Yep, that'll work. So hopefully what this will do is not overrun me with vampire attacks, which I probably should do that at 25 as well. And yeah, okay, so that way I'm not getting inundated with these things. And this is kind of cool. So if you're playing a vampire character, you can't do the Dawnbreaker quest, because she hates Meridia. She hates vampires, and that's the whole point of the Dawnbreakers. She hates undead in general, and of course the only undead player character is vampires. So it would make sense to make this to where if you're a vampire in your playthrough, you can't do that quest at all. And this allows you to set your minimum levels to where, so you're going to be at least level 12 before you find the little marker that starts the quest, for example. But if you're a vampire by that time, you can turn it off. You can hit that little checkbox so you can't do it. And drain attacks, yeah, that's alright. Just some more random quests. Werewolf encounters, yep. Completed the companion's quest proving honor. So you have to... Okay, so this just turns it on to where, regardless of whether you've gone through the companion's quest line, you'll start seeing werewolves attacking out in the world. Yeah, that's cool. I think the Moonlight Tales actually has its own deal for that, so don't know that I need to worry about that one. And cool. Oh yeah, you get the... I almost forgot about the bounty hunters that come after you. I forgot. I was playing one game, and I think I was on Skyrim at the time, which makes a lot of the combat a lot more difficult, and makes armor choices that you're wearing a lot more important. And I was, playing like a thief character, and I had my light armor and my bow and arrow, and got some bounty hunters came after me. Just fucking slaughtered me. Had like a big ass two-handed axe, and one hit and I was basically dead. That was not cool. Not cool. Player trips, that's cool. Steam good. No blind. It's more annoyance than it is cool. I mean, it's if you're going for the full immersion play, it works okay. It makes it more important to stay inside when it's raining or snowstorms. But when you got shit to do, you got shit to do. You can't just stay in trying to wait out a rainstorm or a blizzard. And it just, to me, it makes it more fun to play with those disabled. When you're going for a fun playthrough, not necessarily a full immersion, full survivalism or whatever. Umbrellas look kind of silly in the world. I know some people like them. There is actual mods for umbrellas. I leave them off though, just because I don't know. I think it looks kind of silly. It's out of place, basically. Cold, good, but you know what? All races. That just makes no sense to me. Wet, no Argonians wearing rain gear. That makes sense. They're, reptiles. They are used to being wet, or amphibians. Sorry. But cold gear, no Nords. That makes no sense. They're still people. They have 50% frost resistance, yes, but they're still people. And people get cold. It doesn't matter. So, yeah, all races wear cold gear. Same thing with ashes, no watery eyes. And the holidays is good. I don't know, so I guess today is the So, well, crap. I'm just gonna... One of these days, I'm going to actually override this and see what actually happens during your birthday, if anything. I don't know if anything actually does. What is heat detection? Breath in the snow shader will no longer dissipate when near a heat. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's not that big of a deal. Winter overhaul mode. All of Skyrim's cold. No. No. Not gonna do that. Although, it just means that you see your breaths, your character breathing, regardless of where you are. Which I guess would work if you have a mod that makes everywhere snowy and cold. But I like the vanilla system where you still have warm areas and stuff further south. So yeah, I'll leave that off. And what is shelter detection? Drip affected blizzard. Ugh. Oh, okay. So basically what this does is if you're standing under a walkway or under an overhang or something like that, even though the game engine, you're still going to see the water coming in because it's basically going through the roof or whatever it is that you're under. This will detect that you're under something, and you'll no longer be dripping water or getting snowblind, which is cool. But more scripts means the system can typically run a little bit slower. There is a mod out there called, I believe, Real Shelter. It's a work in progress still, because the person developing it basically has to go and manually edit every place that there could be shelter in the game. And they started by doing all of the little towns and cities, but they've been expanding out into wilderness areas, caves, overhangs, stuff like that. But basically what it does is, if it's pouring down rain or snow is coming down, and you go into an area where there would typically be shelter over you, like say in a tower. Typical in Skyrim, if it's snowing and you go inside of a tower, there's snow flurries all inside the tower as well going around. What this mod would do is it basically makes it to where none of that snow comes into the tower. You'll still see it outside. If you're looking out the door, you'll still see the snow flying by, but when you're inside the tower, it's dry. There's no snow flurrying around. And it looks like this kind of does the similar thing. It may not visually show that there's no snow flying around in the thing, but it will, for the purpose of this mod, not do the snow blind, or if it's a rainstorm, it won't do drips coming off your character while you're under shelter. So that's cool, but again, I don't really need it because it's just more scripts, and I've already got a lot of scripts running, so I don't need to add too much to it. Oh crap! All right. Now the Winter Mist enchantments was actually, I don't think that it's required, but it's highly recommended by Tendo that did the Percus Maximus, and it basically just adds lots of new enchantments into the game that you can disenchant items and learn and be able to reapply them to items. I think by default the game only has 54 enchantments, or 54 different types of enchantments, and this one adds like another 107 or something like that. So I added it just because it was recommended on Percus Maximus. It may not be something that I keep just because I don't really do a whole lot of enchanting until late game. So I don't know. We'll see. I usually just rely on items that I found that are already enchanted and just, you know, charge them up when needed. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know. It could be what is this? Imposes a 75 limit of 75% on fortify enchantments that reduce magic cost. It's not desired. Use this option to remove. Oh, so this I guess is kind of a way to make it so that you can't cheese the system into making, you know, a set of armor that uses no magic in a certain school. Of course, in the vanilla game, it's very easy to craft a chest piece, gloves, boots, and helmet body, helmet, gloves, boots that all have a 25% reduction in spell cost for a certain school of magic. So, say destruction magic, for instance. So if you're wearing all 4 pieces and they're all 4 doing 25% reduction, you're down to 0% now. So your destruction spells don't cost any magic. Somebody's on. Vampires have more negatives, I think. So that was something to level the field in a manner of speaking. The 5 is after you pick it up. 5 is after pick what up. If you're still on Raging Mjolnir. Yeah, so what was I saying? Oh yeah. So this basically makes it to, by default, the thing only goes up to 75% reduction, so you still use some magic on those enchantments, but you can turn that off if you want to. And okay. So I think that's the last of the configuration here. I'm going to do a save. And let's start somewhere.
Approach, my child, and choose where your new life shall begin.
Where do I want to save? Let's... Eric the Slayer's childhood friend. I don't even know who Eric the Slayer is right now. I'm not sure I've ever run into that NPC. I'm going to do a property holder. And just because I'm testing, I'm going to cheese. I'm going to own Proudspire Manor. Okay. I do agree, though. Vampires do have more negatives than werewolves. The whole sun thing is a negative. But there are mods out there, too, that you can do that will kind of negate some of those effects, or at least make them so they're not so drastic. But yeah, no, I still felt it was weird to have, you know, a vampire or a werewolf to where you couldn't change at any time that you wanted to. It was only the one time a day. I don't necessarily think that you should be able to change at any time that you want to, but at least a little more often than once a day. And the Ring of Her scene helps, but again, still, I don't know. It's a personal preference thing, I guess, more or less. Okay, so what was I gonna do? Oh, hello. Get a little start. Oh, hello. Yeah. Getting started with some weapons. I don't even have to cheese these. And take those. Oh yeah, gold has weight now too in Percus Maximus. I gotta remember that. I'm gonna not take any of those then right now. And okay, let's see if there are any other weapons around here. Weapon rack, okay. Anything in here? Yeah, see there's no, since I haven't read this yet, I'll go ahead and pick that up and show what that Moorhead does. So I'll go in. So now I've read the book. Goes out, and now the little icon. Now this is SkyUI that does this, of course. But I will put the book back in here. Or actually, you know what? I'll drop it on the bed. So now the little icon there, the little eye icon in the Moorhead, tells me that I've read that book. So if I see it again in the world somewhere, I'll see that little icon and says, oh, yep, I've read that. I don't need to worry about picking it up and taking it back to my house. And go. We'll store that. Cool. Alright, let's get out of here. Any weapons that I can take? You know what? I'll take that though. Any armor anywhere? Whoop. My god, it's so dark in here. This is kind of a combination of realistic lighting overhaul and the E&B making things much darker than it should be. I might need to not use realistic lighting overhaul if I'm going to do an E&B. We'll see. Because yeah, especially at night, it's ridiculous. Dust. Again. Okay. I don't want to go into Solitude just yet. Fortune. I'll take you. Use that for some testing. Oh, you know what? Alright, I want to find... Yeah. I look fucking ridiculous. I always hated the noble clothes. Oh, damn it. Alright. I'll do this when I get outside and actually get some daylight. Let's go down here. Oh god, so dark. I think I had an elven sword, didn't I? Elven sword, yep. And bow. Cool. So I don't need the iron. Anything in here? Nah. I was gonna console all my items that I needed, weapons and armor and stuff like that, but if it's already laying around, I'll go ahead and grab it. I think this is the... Yeah, this is the quarter for your house, Carl. And okay. Check the skills here. Yep, all the skills are in. Good. Alright. So yeah, you can see it's changed up some of the skill trees here. Oh, like, that's... Is that new? I think that might be new. The little... whatever it is, the silhouette thing for it. I could be wrong, but I think that one might be new. Like this one here, the smithing skill tree. There's just so much more. Like you can actually melt down items. Skyrim has some does a lot of this stuff, but He's been working. There goes Space Core. Nintendo has been working a lot on refining the perks and stuff that Skyrim introduced, making them work a little better and work together a little better as well. There's a lot of times in Skyrim where you will run across things that just make no sense perk-wise, that he kind of wanted to fix, and essentially it had gotten to the point where it was either completely rewrite Skyrim from scratch or do something new entirely, and that's what he decided to do with Percus Maximus. But yeah, so the whole crafting thing, so instead of it meeting in the middle like it used to, it actually splits. So you want to choose whether you're going to go heavy armors or light armors on the other side, which are actually not all completely, because Corundrum is... Who uses Corundrum? Is that Elven? That's not Elven. No, Elven's Malachite. Elven also does some Moonstone, so it's mostly light armors. But it does also Dragon, which is not light. Well, there is a light section to it, but not completely light. What is Hunting Grounds? So you can make bear traps if you want to do a hunting playthrough. This allows you to repair... Oh, really? Haha. Cool. So you can actually make dwarven spiders. And I'm betting, since there's 3 of them, I'm betting there's more of the dwarven automatons, like the spiders and the, I wonder if you could do the big one. What were they called? The crap. I don't remember the name of them. The mechanical guardian, the giant things that will kick your ass if you're not paying attention when you're in Falmer areas. Cool. And so I guess you can make a ton of them and just have a ton of them following behind you, I guess, or attacking for you, and repair them if they're damaged. Nice, nice. What is that? Trap damage. Ooh. So you can make more powerful traps. Excellent. Nice. Ignoring armor. He also added reforging and warforging into Percus Maximus, which warforging makes things more powerful, but the drawback is you can't enchant them. So you have to decide if you want to go with a more powerful weapon, base weapon, but not be able to enchant it, or do you want to still be able to enchant it? If you do, you can reforge to get more powerful stuff, but not all the way that it can do up to warforging. Which I guess is if you go into the mastery perk to do warforging. Yeah, warforged gear has considerably better stats than regular, but cannot be enchanted. Oh shit! No stamina. That's nice. Warforged armor, new material combination. You gain all armor bonuses from all material perks you know. Holy shit! That could be way overpowered. Gonna have to test that one when I actually start testing these things. Reforge any craftable armor. Nice, nice. So yeah, reforging for weapons and armor then. Neat. And of course Meltdown lets you take all of the random shit that you find and melt it down and get craftable or craft materials out of it. Leather armors you can get, leather strips and stuff from. Metal armors you get ingots and stuff from, so that you can then reuse it for your own stuff. So that's your jeweler stuff. What is this? Artifact essence. And for unenchanted copies of various Daedric artifacts you have in your inventory. Crafted at the smelter and requires a Daedra heart and 3 soul gem fragments of one of the various combinations. Soul utilized in the creation of artifact replicas. Crafting recipes for artifact essence only show up if you have Daedric heart in your inventory. Daedric artifact replicas require 1 artifact essence as well as 3 pieces of the material you'd use when tempering the artifact to be crafted. These only show up if you have the original artifact in your inventory. So unenchanted copies of various Daedra artifacts. So I'm wondering if it basically just lets you make a copy of a Daedric weapon or Daedric not the vanilla Daedric weapons, but like the what's that, ebony sword and Dawnbreaker, stuff like that. But they're unenchanted copies of it. Oh, well okay. I could see some use in that, because then you have if you like the look of the weapon or the armor or whatever it is, but you want to be able to enchant it with whatever you want to enchant it with, you can do that. Okay, that's cool. I can take that. Crafting and tempering recipes for refined silver weapons. Oh, okay. Cool. The heavy armor tree. Worn in heavy armor. Another thing that he added to this is just wearing armor, and walking around and using the armor. Basically, you gain skill in it, which is nice, and that's what the whole conditioning thing is for. So it's basically, the thought process behind it is, the more you're using your armor, whether it's in combat or just walking around, the more you're getting used to wearing it. So it's making it so that it doesn't weigh you down so much, or you're getting conditioned to that armor. So your skill will slowly raise just by walking around with armor in it, which is nice. It means you don't have to go and fight mud crabs for hours to let them sit there and pick at you to start gaining armor skill, because the way I play, I usually like to do ranged weapons, and I usually get way too high level before I realize I need to increase my armor skill, and by that point, if I let something that's my level hit me with the armor skill that I have, I'm going to die quickly. So I typically end up having mud crabs pick at me for just incessantly, and to raise my armor levels. Just because playing a ranged character, you generally don't get hit, so your armor rating doesn't ever go up. So I like stuff like this where it adds it in, to where you actually get better in your armor skill just by wearing the armor. One piece of heavy armor, ignore 20% and deal 10% more damage. Ooh, nice. So I guess the thought process behind this is, if you're wearing heavy armor, you're learning where the weak spots are in heavy armor, and you're able to exploit those weak spots, do a little bit more damage, and ignore a little bit more of their armor rating. That's cool. Wearing heavy leggings and moving, all melee attacks are 8% stronger. Cool. That could be handy. Mind Cage, using thief perks as well, negates spellcasting malice from heavy armor. While wearing a heavy armor helmet, incoming spells increase your magic resistance by 10% for 4 seconds. So how does this work? If you're using thief perks, it negates the spellcasting malice from heavy armor. So normally if you want to play like a war mage or something where you wear heavy armor but you're also casting, you get penalties for wearing heavy armor while casting, which makes sense. But I don't understand why, if you're using thief perks, that negates the spellcasting malice. I'll have to see what's in the thief tree. And I'm assuming that it means any of the trees in the thief. So the way that Percus Maximus, I should probably explain this, is set up is you have warrior, thief, and mage. And your warrior perks are heavy, light armor, heavy and light weaponry. I believe ranged weaponry might be as well. And blocking. There you go. Where did the light armor go? So yeah, I guess ranged weaponry is probably also warrior. Light armor, probably warrior. Then you've got sneak, wayfarer, dexterity, which used to be pickpocket. I think he obviously added wayfarer, but I think he did. He basically replaced pickpocketing and lockpicking. So now dexterity is kind of a combination of pickpocketing and lockpicking. Sneak was always sneak. And then he added the wayfarer tree, which is stuff like creature lore, gain more stuff while you're gathering, does the green thumb, which was in the alchemy tree, but he's added it into here as well. You can do stuff like camouflage, which allows you to kind of blend into areas so you're less visible. You can have I think that's a lesser creature follower, basically once a day. Do more damage to your chosen fiend. So yeah, so Wayfarer was something that he added in Skyrim, and it was very popular with a lot of people. So he brought it over with Percus Maximus. But anyways, so you got the warrior, the thief, and the mage, and the different things. So speechcraft. These are like your thief trees, and then the alchemy, all the spells, those are your mage trees. I think smithing is under the warrior tree as well. I think it's considered under the warrior tree. So I'm assuming that when this says while using thief perks as well, I assume it means anything in the thief tree, or anything in the thief group of perks, not necessarily something specific to a thief like sneak or whatever. Okay, let's go on, see what we got. More stuff. While wearing heavy gauntlets, power attacks are 15% stronger. That's nice. Heavy cuirass, bleed, and debuff rank of incoming attacks is reduced by 1. Ooh, nice. I'll have to bring this up. Nexus Percus Maximus. So I think he has the tree, the bleed chart. Oh yeah, I don't have Flash installed. So yeah, he's got, basically it splits it up into 3 classes: mage, warrior, and thief. Okay, so here's the weapon classes. So he's got piercing, blunt, and bladed weapons, blue or one-handed, red or two-handed, and it's kind of the Venn diagram of how they fall into it. So daggers are considered piercing and bladed. Spiked clubs are considered piercing and blunt. The only thing that's considered one of each is halberds, which makes sense. So okay, so that's cool. But then, yeah, so he's got this bleed chart. So an arming sword is your default longsword. Its bleed is 2, which means it's more likely to cause bleed than something like what? Why would a war axe be less likely to cause bleed? You'd think that would be more likely. Hatchet I can understand. Bleed is essentially just once you hit something, they'll continue taking damage because they're bleeding out. Short spear makes sense to have that. But the highest bleed damage is halberds, great swords, makes sense. Nodachis, bastard swords. I think bastard swords are considered two-handed for Percus Maximus. And the defense buff means when blocking, they're more effective or less effective for blocking. So like a maul is more effective for blocking than a standard longsword. And stagger is the percentage that when you hit somebody with it, that it will stagger them. I'm assuming, since there's only like 3 levels, that if it's based on percentage, it's 33%, 33 or 66%, 99% or whatever. That's my assumption. I could be completely off on that. So yeah, you have no chance to stagger with tantos or daggers. No chance to stagger with knuckles and claws. I would think that knuckles should have a chance to stagger. I mean, you punch somebody hard enough, they're going to get staggered. But yeah, well, we'll see. I do kind of like that he's added claw and knuckle weapons into the game. So if you want to play like a monk character, a monk type character, it's a viable option now. Yeah, okay. So I'll go ahead and leave this up for now, in case we need to get back to it. So that's cool. So basically what this means is if you take this perk, then somebody hits you like with a halberd, instead of it being, rank 3 in bleed, when it hits you, it has less chance to cause bleeding because it takes it down a rank. Very cool. Alright. And what were the other ones? Oh, get back to... Oh, shit. Slow down. Slow down. I always hated traversing through the perk trees, even in the vanilla game. While blocking with a heavy shield, incoming destruction spell magnitude is decreased by 10%. Works on top of magic resistance. Nice. Negate movement speed, malice from heavy shields. Ooh. So you don't move slower when carrying a heavy shield, and you take less magic damage. I like it. Pork, blocking with heavy shield, incoming shout magnet. Ooh. Oh, that'd be nice for fighting those fucking draugrs that shout at you all the time. And I'm assuming that works with dragons as well, because the breath, dragon breath, is shouts. I mean, it's not magic, it's a shout. So I'm assuming that is what this will do. Negative attack speed. Okay. Let's check out these other sides of the tree. Wearing heavy arm, head, chest, and leg. Incoming shock magic is 20% weaker. Nice. So I'm assuming that increases maybe to 40% if you take the second perk. Which is kind of cool. It's kind of like a Faraday cage, which, you know, makes some sense. And technically, you would kind of think chainmail would basically be like a Faraday cage, and heavy armor, you typically wear chainmail underneath it. Okay. Each enemy within 8-foot range increases your armor rating by 40. What? That's interesting. So I need to figure out how much an 8-foot range is in the game engine, but if you're surrounded by enemies, you're basically making yourself harder to damage just by the fact that you're being surrounded by enemies. That's that one may be a little overpowered, but I don't know. When I'm actually testing these out, we'll see how it works, and it may just be powerful enough that it's enough to kind of get out of a bad situation versus just being able to stand there and take all the damage that you want to take without actually dying. We'll see. Unbreakable. Negate the effect of any enemy perk that reduces armor. Ooh. Handy. Handy. Especially because NPCs get these perks. So NPCs might have this if they're perked up on heavy armor. So that could be handy. You're basically negating the NPC's ability, but then again, if they have Unbreakable as their perk as well, your exploit weakness of heavy armor would be negated. So trade-offs. Alright. Incoming unblocked hits stagger the attacker. Wait. Incoming unblocked hits. So that means if you don't block their hit, you stagger them. That's another one kind of like the against all odds. I could see that one being very little too overpowered. Okay. Oh, no. Go back. Went too far. Okay. Incoming power attacks are 30% weaker. Cool. Health. While your health is below 30%, time slows down by 10%. Melee attacks are 10% stronger. Interesting. Not quite as powerful as the slow time shout, but it's a freebie, basically. I say freebie. It's free when you're below 30% health. That could be handy. Definitely going to test that one out. Negate incoming stagger. Ooh, nice. So if a power attack or something would stagger you normally, this negates it. I like that, but again, could be a little overpowered. Oh yeah. I had heard about this one. So this is basically the shield, not shield bash, but the what was the one where you could charge, like sprint with a shield in the vanilla game and just fling people all over the place. That's basically this, but when you're wearing heavy armor. So if you sprint while wearing heavy armor, you fling them around. But I've heard that it's not just hostiles. So if you're in town and you're like most people that like to sprint around in town, if you touch somebody while you're sprinting, you've just attacked them. So guards are going to come after you, you're getting your fines and all this stuff. So that one could make moving around town a little tricky. And then if you take the mastery perk, while active, you move 30% slower, and all incoming weapon and spell damage is reduced by 50%. So you can use it basically 4 times a day, essentially. Okay. So you're basically taking half damage, but you're also moving 1/3 slower. Okay. That's not too terrible. That'll be one to check out. Let's see what the shield perks are. Yeah, I think that might have been it right there. Block runner. Oop. Oh no, that's just running while you're blocking. I know it wasn't power bash, but yeah, when power bashing. No, there was a perk in shields that you would run while you had a shield and it would fling people around. Anyways, okay, so yeah, just better blocking. I'm probably not going to go through all of these tonight. I'm just gonna getting a quick look at them, because I think the ones that I'm going to be testing when I actually do testing tomorrow, I'm going to test out heavy and light armor, shield, probably weapons, archery, and maybe some of the spells, just to see how they work, and definitely want to test out some of the smithing stuff. Okay, so basically all I wanted to see was to make sure that those trees were working, so I'll definitely be going over those tomorrow in a little bit more depth. Alright, let's go ahead and get out here, actually. Yeah. And I want to see if if the ENB is working with the recording, and that'll probably be all I do tonight, since it is, oh god, it's already 1 o'clock. Jesus, no wonder I'm feeling exhausted. I've been up since 4 o'clock this morning, so going on 24 hours. Alright, yeah, I got my smooth shadows, so let me check the stream when it comes up. And do I have sun rays? Yep, got sun rays, so ENB is definitely working. It looks like it is working on my system. Come on, stream, catch up. Almost there. Yes, excellent.
You help people, right?
Oh god, you. Okay, so I was gonna check out some frame rate stuff, which I'll probably be doing on most of that tomorrow too. But yeah, so I'm holding pretty good at 60 frames with the ENB. And again, stuff like the depth of field, I turn that off in the ENB because I use Dynavision. So if I'm looking at this, that kind of blurs the background. Then I turn to look at that and it kind of blurs the foreground. That's how I like my depth of field to work, and that affects a little bit, but not a ton, the frame rate. So if I go back here, it looks like just looking down this direction kind of kills the frame rate some. And alright, so let's see what we got here. And yeah, still got my Oblivion gates. Yes, good. What are you? That's like a shaft of light, but where the hell is it coming from? Seriously? Is it really coming? I guess it is coming from right there. Wow. Okay. Alright, good. Alright, so I like, so far what I've seen of this ENB, I like the colors. A little bit more saturated without going too overboard. I was using a mod called Imaginator to do the saturation and stuff, but I always liked these sun rays from ENBs, and I've been looking for, try to see if there are a way to do sun rays without the ENBs, but there's really not. So I finally just gave in and decided to go ahead and run an ENB. I was always thinking that ENBs were gonna be way too taxing on my system since I've only got a 670, but I mean, if I'm still getting 60 frames a second with this, I'm okay with that. Yeah. Cool. Alright. And I know that, like, the rays are not technically realistic, but they just look cool. And they are when it's dusty. So we'll just imagine that Skyrim is constantly dusty. Alright. Ugh, God, so tired. And that was the other thing I liked about ENBs, and nothing else I've been able to find does it. It makes the shadows soft. Like the edges of the shadows, they don't have that ugly aliasing. That kind of a product and a limitation of having so many things made to work with consoles this last generation. Okay, so I got light coming in here, so there we go. Alright. Well, if you want to join me tomorrow, excellent. I will be probably streaming for a long time, going through armor trees and weapon trees and stuff like that to kind of test them out, and actually testing them in different situations, dragon fighting, bandits. Might look into some of the speechcraft stuff just to see how the bartering works, but there's also parts of the speech tree deal with improving your shouts, making them more effective. And I do have a mod that was written to work with Percus Maximus called Shouts Redragonized, which also improves shouts, each level of the shout, to where they will work on enemies up to like level 80 or 100 or whatever, instead of like what's a mod like Disarm would only work on on enemies up to like level 30 in the vanilla game. This one lets it to where it'll constantly work for you as you level up. You know, if you come up against an enemy that's level 80 while you're level 80, you can still disarm them with the shout, but on the flip side, so can they. You know, if you, if they shout at you, and you're level 80 or whatever, that spell can still work, or not the spell, but the shout can still work on you. So stuff like that. Durations get changed around. Some of the damage that gets done gets changed around. Like Unrelenting Force does a little bit more damage to make it not only crowd control but also effectively a offensive shout as well. Oop. Quit moving. Yeah, so I'll be testing those out, and I'll be testing out, again, like I said, the armors, see how those work. It'll be a slow day, but hopefully it will be informative both for you and for me, because I want to know if I want to use Percus Maximus on my playthrough that I'm going to be doing hopefully in January. Yeah, hopefully getting started on that in January. If not, then I'll probably just go back to Skyrim, but I'm hoping Perks Maximus is ready to start being used in a full playthrough. So we'll see. Anyways, again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow, hopefully.